So good morning, everybody. This is our first lecture on essentials of thesis writing, a subject for the PhD scholars for their coursework. This is having a course code MP07. So in this lecture, I would like to explain you the significance of this subject and also would like to give you a view about the syllabus. As I'm repeating, the subject title is Essentials of Thesis Writing and the code is MP07. It is a subject which is mandatory and common for scholars of all stream. The course objective now, what are the objectives of this course? Why was this course started? The first objective, I would read it out and explain it very briefly to you, to develop proficiency in academic writing. My dear scholars, you need to understand that when we are pursuing a PhD degree or when we are writing a research paper or a research project, that writing is known as academic writing, which is very different from the everyday writing or the journalistic piece of writing. That is the articles which are being published in the newspapers or magazines. They are not truly academic writing. Academic writing is when you write research papers or when you write your thesis or your research project. So this course is MP07 course is designed for you to develop proficiency in academic writing. Through this course, we would like to enhance your ability to write academically, where you focus on the fundamental skills which are necessary for effective scholarly communication. The second course objective is your language skills are also enhanced for thesis writing. The course, it works on refining your language skills, which are very essential for producing high quality thesis document, which will meet and excel the academic standards. Through this course, we would also like to bring in clarity and coherency in your submitted work. It might be a research paper, project, or the chapters of your thesis or your entire thesis. So we would like to build up a language and a vocabulary through which you would achieve the goals of bringing about clarity and coherency in writing. Through this medium, through this learning, you will develop the ability to organize your thoughts and also to present your ideas in a manner which is academic, professional, credible. That is, you make people believe in what you are saying because you are speaking it in an academic tone. You are giving the various facts, figures, theories to support what you are saying, and your work is understandable. Now, the fourth course objective, we would like you to have an idea about what is academic integrity and also to practice that academic integrity. Academic integrity, in very simple words, is, having the tendency to be engaged in honest piece of research, honest purpose behind the research, where you give proper citation to the works from where you are inspired or what you are quoting. You have to give their proper citation. You have to give credit to the sources. This is how you avoid plagiarism, and you make sure that your work is ethical and it is credible. That is, you make people believe in the worth of your work. That is what is credibility is. Now, how is this course important for the research scholar? We'll just revise. You will learn what is structured academic writing. You would improve your language skills, effective use of vocabulary, grammar, as well as the proofreading tools. At the same time, you would build a very strong research foundation in which you would understand that how should I begin my research? What are the books? What are the research papers I have to read? How do I have to read them so that I retain the maximum information? What is the content which I have to make a hurried reading? What is the content which I have to deeply read? So all such, all such reading techniques and further note making and writing techniques, writing the first draft of your research paper or the chapter of your thesis, this will help you build a very strong research foundation, which would be backed up by the academic integrity. That is the honesty in presenting your work, giving proper citation, avoiding plagiarism, as well as learning the proper formatting techniques, formatting and the submission standards. This particular course or subject will familiarize the scholars with the mechanics, the mechanics of thesis writing. What are the various formatting style sheets which are suited as per your subject, and what are the details of those formatting sheets? What is the proper font size you're going to keep? What is the font style, which is Times New Roman, which is usually practiced? What is the spacing in between the line? How you are supposed to, what is the particular dimension at which you should set in your margins? All those, they come in the formatting. As well as if you are citing from some source, then you have to be very careful that how you're going to put the content in the double inverted commas or quotation marks, and you have to cite the source in text citation, the book or the author from whose work you are quoting. So all those details, the books of the names have to be put in italics. All the bigger works, they have to be put in italics. The name of the book, the name of a newspaper, the name of a journal, they all are bigger works. They have to be put up in italics, whereas all the smaller works, that is one chapter from a journal, one chapter from a book, one research paper, one piece of poetry, they all have to be put up in double inverted commas because they are smaller works. So this is in brief what is formatting. This course will also give you a slight peep into what are the formatting rules and regulations, because when you follow the formatting rule and regulation, then only your work, it becomes academic or professional. Last but not the least, this course will teach you or familiarize you with the modern editing tools, the AI tools like Grammarly, Quillboard, and Ginger, with the help of which you can, run your content through these apps, and you can check in on your grammar, sentence structure mistakes and rectify them. One thing which is very important, technology in research has a role to play, but there is no replacement of manual editing, right? So this course, it equips you to have a foundation of how to edit your thesis manually also. Now, coming next, what are the key units and their significance? The course Essentials of Thesis Writing MP07, it has got 4 basic units. And you would understand the purpose behind the basic units. Your one unit or unit 1, it is titled as Basics of Academic English. In this unit, Basics of Academic English, we will build up a strong foundation in terms of academic vocabulary, academic English, which is crucial or important for effective communication in the scholarly settings or the academic circles. So Unit 1, it emphasizes the importance of selecting very precise, appropriate, accurate, clear vocabulary to enhance the quality of your expression. So this unit, it not only deals with learning some academic vocabulary which makes our writing scholarly and professional. It also introduces us to the essential reading techniques. There are basically three kinds of essential reading techniques: skimming, scanning, and SQ3R method. Now, each technique has its own purpose, right? And we should be clear, like at what stage of our research am I going to apply skimming? For which books I need to skim through them, just take a hurried reading of them, and what part of the book I need to study it deeply, that is to practice scanning. And then there is a proper technique which is SQ3R technique, which I would be explaining you in details, where the alphabet S, Q and 3 R's, they stand for various methods to be adopted while reading. Now, what are we reading for our research? As per our research topic and as per our research theme, we would be reading some content from certain critical books on the subject, certain research papers. Now, when we are reading them, we would be reading about 50 research papers, about 50, 60 critical study books. So, we need to be very careful that we are able to comprehend the content of that books. That is, we are able to understand those research materials and also select from the understanding certain content which stays in our mind, as well as we take note of it, and it becomes part of our note taking from these critical books and research papers. And these notes only further, they will become the first draft of our thesis, which on revision we would be second draft, third draft, fifth draft, etc. It would be becoming a final product, that is our thesis or our research paper. So this was about unit 1, basics of academic English. It equips us with academic vocabulary, proper usage of academic vocabulary, academic rules and regulations, that is academic conventions, and also the effective or essential reading skills or techniques. Coming next, unit conducting research. Now, in this unit, see, we have learned academic vocabulary, we have learned academic conventions, that is rules and regulations, and also the proper reading techniques. Now, in this unit 2, conducting research, we would be learning the exact proper methods of making the notes, making outline first, further utilizing these notes to form our first draft, in which the content is very organized. The information, the ideas, the thoughts are organized. And this is how we would structure the content into logical paragraphs. And there is going to be a smooth flow or transition of ideas between the various paragraphs. This is what is known as cohesion or cohesively. And the focus on this unit 2 of conducting research is to bring in clarity, cohesion, and grammatical accuracy, so that we are able to produce high quality academic work. Well, this was unit 2. I hurriedly brush it up for you. In this, we learn the note making techniques. We learn how to make the first draft, right? We learn how to organize our content into logical and cohesive paragraphs. Ideas, they flow smoothly. There is a smooth transition. And coming to unit 3, which deals with the mechanics of thesis writing. In this particular unit, we would be learning like, how should we make the headings? How should we format a page of our research paper or our thesis? If we have to include some tables, illustrations, figures, then how am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to cite the sources from where I've taken that particular table, that particular image, that particular graph, diagram, and where am I supposed to place that particular table, illustration, etc. So this very unit 3, also trains us to make proper usage of punctuation, that is, usage of period, colon, semicolon, parenthesis, etc., etc., double inverted commas, quotation marks. So all this learning is very critical for maintaining academic integrity and readability. Our thesis, when it attains a level of readability, it becomes very clear for the fellow scholars to read and understand. They develop interest while reading, and all the contents, they are crystal clear. Readability for the scholars, for the examiner, for your supervisor. So this very unit 3, mechanics of thesis writing, it also gives you a slight view into, like, when do you need to print your thesis and binding, and when your thesis in a ready state to be submitted. Before you submit your thesis, you have followed all the formatting techniques, the proper style sheet. If you are humanities languages scholar, you are supposed to use MLA style sheet, 9th edition. If you are from the social sciences management, you are supposed to use APA, Chicago, etc., etc. There are various style sheets which are suited as per your study and your subject. Coming to unit fourth includes the correction tools. As I had already mentioned in the beginning of this class only, that we also would be, after manual editing and proofreading, we would also be using certain digital or AI correction tools to identify and correct the spelling mistakes, punctuation, and grammatic errors. So this unit 4th, it introduces us to various softwares like Ginger, Quillboard, Grammarly, etc., which are going to be of good help to detect certain errors which we have, simply ignored in the middle of so much of burden of reading through a complete thesis. So those mistakes, they will not go unattended and would be caught up by these correction tools, and they would also give us the suggestion how we need to correct these very grammar or spelling mistakes and proceed further with a thesis which is almost error free. So this was about the course, Essentials of Thesis Writing, about the syllabus. So anytime you want to know about the syllabus, please run through this lecture, which the PPT of which gives you the details of the syllabus. Now, after this, I would be moving to Unit 1, in which we would be learning about what is academic vocabulary. So I am stopping the sharing of this very PPT, which is your induction PPT, which familiarizes you with the course and also the syllabus. And further, I would be starting with Unit 1 and sharing Unit 1's PPT, right, which is about mastering the academic vocabulary, and also how am I supposed to proceed further with converting vague vocabulary into academic vocabulary, right? All vocabulary which is everyday usage, it becomes vague vocabulary, but the prerequisite of our thesis is your academic vocabulary. So I am sharing from vague to academic, another PPT, and explaining it to you for your purpose, from vague to academic, how to replace informal and imprecise, vocabulary, language which lacks precision, accuracy. That is imprecise language. It's our, prerogative. It's our responsibility as researchers to replace informal and imprecise language with academic precision. So let's proceed further to the first slide, why academic precision matters. Let me make it very clear. The meaning of precision is accuracy. Why academic accuracy, that is using a proper academic word, is very important. For that, first of all, we need to know what is vague writing. Vague writing is the writing which is ambiguous, that is, which leads to misunderstanding and confusion. It is informal and it is also inappropriate for scholarly context. It is not a language which is suitable for scholarly context. In comparison to that, academic writing, it is specific. That is, we are using the exact words at the exact places. It is formal and it is also evidence-based. Let me deal with the same with the help of an example. Let's listen to one vague expression. The vague expression is people think technology is good. Now, we are not very clear who these people are and how technology is good. Good is a very general expression. Now, to convert it into academic English, we can, transform this sentence in a manner. Scholars argue. Instead of merely saying think, argue reflects a larger purpose in which we are placing forward our logical arguments. Scholars argue that emerging technologies, we are not only talking about technologies, emerging technologies, they are good in general English. But how? So in academic English, we speak that they enhance the productivity and global connectivity, right? So this is how we are able to convert a piece of or a expression which is very vague into academic language, which is powerful and suited in the academic circles. Scholars argue that emerging technologies enhance productivity and global connectivity. Let's move further to the next slide. What is vague language? We'll specify more. Vague language, it makes usage of the words which are very general, like stuff, things, kind of, lot of, sort of, good, bad. These terms or these vocabulary words, they are often used in speech or casual writing. But in academic writing, that is when you are writing a research paper or you are having an academic talk or you are writing your thesis, vagueness makes your argument weaker. Vagueness is so layman style, it is not professional, it is not scholarly. So we need to transform the vague language into academic language. Examples again. The first strategy is to replace general nouns with specific nouns. Listen how. The author talks about a lot of things. A lot of things is a very general expression. Now, how are we supposed to transform it into an expression which is academic? The author discusses. Now, what are the lot of things? These lot of things, they will vary as per your study area. As per one study area of humanities, we say the author discusses cultural symbolism, post-colonial themes, and resistance narratives. We have made it clear that what are the lot of things which a particular author in a particular work discusses. So we have replaced the general nouns with the specific nouns. What is a tip? Name the specific concepts or categories like we have named above. Cultural symbolism, specific concept hai. Post-colonial theme, it is a specific concept. So we have replaced the general nouns as well as general expressions with a specific concept. This is strategy number 1, to transform vague vocabulary into academic vocabulary. Strategy 2, use strong verbs. For example, a vague expression says, it says in the study. What is says? Says as a verb is not a strong or an academic verb. So we can say it ki. Instead of it, what is it? The study is it. The study demonstrates. So demonstrates is a stronger verb in comparison to says. Other examples of strong academic verbs are demonstrates, critiques, explores, evaluates, challenges. So we can say the study critiques. That is, the study is doing a critical analysis, a scholarly analysis. The study explores, the study challenges. It is challenging means it is speaking something against what is already said in a very logical, scholarly, and based on evidence manner. Coming next, what is strategy 3? Clarify the subject. We have to make clear that what is our subject of study here is. They say that climate change is bad. Who is they? How is climate change bad? So we, in academic tone, we can mention climatologists contend that rising CO2 levels in climate change also, we are making it very specific. What is climate change? Rising CO2 levels contribute significantly. The contribution is significantly to global warming. Instead of what is bad, we know global warming is something which in general English you are talking as bad. So I hope it's clear. Strategy 3, to convert your vague expressions into academic expressions. Strategy 4 is use discipline specific vocabulary. That is subject specific vocabulary as per your subject. Vague expression, companies are doing stuff to keep employees happy. Now you're going to convert it into academic expressions. Corporations employ employee engagement models to improve workplace satisfaction. Instead of employees happy, which is a very general expression, we have used a particular concept which is called workplace satisfaction. Employee engagement, that is, engaging your employees, that is connecting with your employees, right? So you can very well understand, use discipline specific vocabulary. And another technique is rewriting, practice rewriting. And we have taken this example from the domain or discipline of education. Vague sentence, lot of people think reading helps you learn. Now this expression is very layman expression. Anybody who can speak some English can speak like this. But we are scholars, researchers, doctorates, future doctorates, right? So we can replace this expression. A lot of people here as your educators. Educators argue that extensive reading, we are not only talking about reading, extensive reading fosters, that is, brings in critical thinking and vocabulary acquisition. Critical thinking is a thinking which is based on logic, which is unbiased, which is scholarly, which doesn't take sides, which always takes a logical view based on facts and figures and reasoning. Why is it better? Because, we are targeting a special group. Instead of merely saying a lot of people, we are talking about a special group which includes our educators. We have used stronger verbs, fosters. Instead of think, we have used a strong verb, fosters, that is brings in, contributes. And we have specific outcomes. What are the outcomes of extensive reading? Developing critical thinking and vocabulary acquisition. Right? So rewriting again with the example from social sciences. Above was the example from education. Vague expression here is there's this thing where people are treated badly. Now, this is very vague expression. There's this thing. Again, I would repeat, it is a Rohit Sharma kind of communication, right? Rohit Sharma, the famous cricketer who is really established himself good in the field of cricket. So he need not to have a very scholarly or academic style of talking. So he talks like this. There's this thing where people are treated badly. But we as academics, we are supposed to, make it more clear. What is this thing? This thing is social exclusion. When we exclude people and don't take them in the mainstream, that is also called systemic discrimination. We discriminate people based on their caste, color, religion, economic standards. So how are we going to express this academically or in academic language, academic English? Social exclusion and systemic discrimination persist in marginalized communities. Persist means it exists. In which communities? Marginalized communities, communities which are thrown towards the margin, which are not mainstream. Maybe because they are economically not sound, maybe they are not of a dominant caste, etc., etc. How we have improved it? We have named the phenomenon. What phenomenon here we have named? The phenomenon of social exclusion and systemic discrimination. We have adopted a formal tone. We have also brought about specificity by using the term marginalized communities. Whereas in the vague expression, it was only people, right? So this is clear. Rewriting a full paragraph, topic or the domain of study is climate change. Vague expression, lots of people don't believe in climate stuff. We need to be clear, who are these lots of people? What is climate stuff, right? So we need to be very specific. We need to be scholarly. We need to write it in academic English. How do we rewrite it? Despite scientific consensus, that is, despite us agreeing scientifically to a single theory idea, a segment of the population. Lots of people जो आपके हैं, वो here it becomes a segment. We can also say a large segment of the population remains skeptical about climate change. They remain skeptical means they don't believe that there is something like climate change. What is climate change? That, our maltreatment of the earth and environment will have repercussions on the climate change. What is the impact? This skepticism presents a critical threat to ecosystems and public health. So we have continued it. This skepticism means they don't believe that their maltreatment of the earth will bring about a climate change. So they are in a denial mode. तो उसको हम बोलते हैं skepticism. This skepticism presents a critical threat to ecosystems, that is our environment and the units within the environment, ecosystems and public health. This is how we have rewritten a full paragraph which was written in vague English, and we have transformed it to an academic piece of writing by using specific phenomenon, by using academic vocabulary. Let's proceed further. Rewriting for scientific tone. Vague sentences, the results were kind of surprising. What is kind of surprising? Academically, we write, the results revealed statistically. We have statistics back up. The results revealed statistically significant deviations. There have been deviations and significant deviations indicating an unexpected trend, a trend which wasn't expected. So we are using quantifiable description. Our descriptions, they specify a quantity. Like when we say significant deviations, that is, the deviation is highly noticeable. Unexpected trend, the trend which is coming wasn't expected. So we are using quantifiable description, measurable description. This is how we are converting the vague content into academic. Now, supposedly, in the field of nursing, we have a vague expression, and how we are going to convert it into academic tone or to give it academic tone. Nurses coordinate patient care, administer treatments, and advocate for patient well-being in multidisciplinary teams. So this is an academic expression where we are focusing on the role of nurses in the medical domain, how they coordinate patient care with the doctors, with the specialists. They also administer the treatment, and they are the advocates for patient well-being. They know what are the ethical standards to be maintained as a nurse in the medical domain. So the above expression, it reflects how academic tone defines the details of a particular expression. In comparison to this, if we say nurses helps the doctors in taking care of the patients, that will become a very childlike or a vague expression. And the scholarly expressions, I would read it out quickly. Nurses coordinate patient care, administer treatments, and advocate for patient well-being in multidisciplinary teams. Coming next, field-specific rewriting example from engineering. Vague expression, make sure the thing doesn't break. We have to make it clear what is the thing. We have to use a scientific phenomenon for doesn't break. So engineers must ensure that structural components maintain integrity. When the structural components, they maintain integrity, that means they do not break. They stay whole. So that is maintain integrity under dynamic stress conditions. That is, they do not break or they maintain integrity. Now, what are we going to, how we are going to wind this entire lecture, converting vague language into academic language? First of all, we are supposed to identify the vague language. And we are, upon identification, we are going to rewrite the sentences to enhance clarity and precision. Precision means accuracy. The third strategy is that we are also supposed to incorporate or include formal tone in academic writing. After we have done this all, we are supposed to evaluate the effectiveness of the written sentences, and this particular lecture, it is giving us a peep into how we should develop skills for transforming informal language into academic language, right? So this was about your unit one part. So in this particular recorded lecture, I have explained to you what is the significance of this course, Essential of Thesis Writing MP07. I have defined and elaborated all the 4 units, and I have given you a slight peep into how should we convert vague expression into academic. In another coming lecture, we are supposed to discuss what is academic vocabulary, certain examples of academic vocabulary, and what are the reading techniques which will guide us to read scholarly books and to read them effectively, also do note making out of it, and to adopt the reading technique which suits our particular goal, whether we are going to adopt skimming, scanning, or SQ 3R method. That would be done in the today's regular lecture at 2:15. Thank you so very much and much gratitude to Wabher. I believe this recorded lecture will make the things more clear to you. So we can label it as Essentials of Thesis Writing, MP07, recorded lecture 1. So thanks a lot. It is about 40 minutes of duration. Thank you, and I hope you make the most of it. And if you have any query, you're most welcome. You can discuss it during the classes. So I'm leaving the meeting.